Alright, so in today's video we are going to be taking a look at improving the lighting setup in this room, which is my bedroom, my lab, and my studio here for the YouTube channel. So basically the plan is to take this LED strip and run it all the way around the perimeter of this room up in the corner. So anyway, all the walls in this room are white, so it should reflect really well and actually work quite nicely. But I've got 4 of these LED strips. These are Lighting Ever branded ones. I think they're about $15 a piece. They are 50/50 size warm white LED strips. I think they're 3000K if you want to be precise with that. Non-waterproof type. They come in these boxes. Actually, these guys keep changing the way that they ship stuff. I've bought different Lighting Ever strips before, and every time I've bought them, they've come in different packages. But anyway, they do give you some, like a connector and a couple of these types of connectors, and then a DC barrel jack to put on the other end, and there's also one soldered on here. But I'm not worried about that. I'm probably going to actually take that off. But anyway, I've also got just a plug, piece of wire, and a 12-volt power supply for these things. And I have an interesting idea for what I want to do with the being able to actually control the lights and dim them and things like that. So anyway, I've got an idea with that. We'll see if it actually works. But anyway, that's the stuff that I have. I'm going to go ahead and start, I'll show you what I've got to work with here, and I'll start putting this stuff up. So the plan is basically just to run the LED strip right up along on the ceiling. One issue that we might run into is that these walls are textured, so I don't know how well that adhesive is actually going to stick to the walls like this, but I guess we're going to find out. Alright, so I've gotten this entire thing done. We'll go ahead and show you what I've got here. It's pretty simple. It's just a bunch of LED strip that goes all the way around the outside, and I've got a little bit of extra over. I had some leftover LED strips, so I ran 3 more across roughly where this desk is at. But I'll go ahead and put this camera on a tripod and show you how this thing's controlled. So as with everything else today, I have these things set up to be controlled with an app. Now I already had a couple of LED controllers actually that are over there in my computer setup, so I just hooked this into one of them, and I'll show you the circuitry that I use to do this in a second. But if I go over here to the warm white LED control and hit this button, that'll turn on the rest of the lighting. You see my phone screen got brighter there. And this, actually looking on the camera screen, that actually makes a pretty big difference. Of course, the auto exposure is kind of changing things right now. But what I'm going to do, I'll go ahead and open up a LuxMeter app. Now normally this over here, this white spot is actually coming from a 10-watt CFL bulb, which is in just a desk lamp. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this off to start with, and we'll see what this is. And it's dark out right now, so I don't have any sunlight coming in. We have 160 lux just sitting on this table here. If I shut off the desk light, it's going to go down to pretty close to nothing, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 29, I guess. 29 lux without that desk light on. But about 160 with it on, and with everything turned on, 700 and almost 500 actually right there. So that's not too bad at all. This is a pretty typical spot where I would film something, so I figured this is a pretty good test out of the phone here. Alright, so at this point I'm going to go ahead and turn off the overhead lighting for this room. That's, you know, everything but the LED strips, and we'll see how much of a difference that makes. Alright, so that has dropped it down to 450 or so from the roughly 480 that it was. And turning that back on, it's back up to like 480, so that's not too terribly impressive. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you the circuitry that's set up to drive this thing. Oh yeah, and I actually should demonstrate this as well. This thing is dimmable, so I can turn down, You'll notice you might actually be able to hear it. There's a nice whining noise with the dimming, which is rather unfortunate. I didn't really anticipate on that, but unfortunately it does make a little bit of noise, which is kind of annoying, but you should shut the desk light off so you can get a better idea what the room's actually doing. So actually I'll just go across the bottom here and give you some idea. So that's 14%, that is 33%, that's 50%, 76% it looks like, 88%, and then the 100%, and of course this is 0. And this is only my main room lights here. So let me go ahead and take you under the desk where the lighting controller is and show you what I've got set up down there. Kind of dark under here, but anyway, this is a circuitry. This thing here is the LED controller that I mentioned earlier, and you might be able to see the kind of glow of the LEDs that are around the outside of the desk. That's what that was actually here for. Then I wired on this thing. Now, one thing that I really didn't want to have was the sort of PWM flicker in case I ever dim these when I'm making videos for YouTube, if I ever have to dim these. Unfortunately, the thing makes a whole lot of actual audible noise. They might not flicker. I haven't really tested it. I haven't noticed any flicker. Like actually the LEDs that are around the outside of this thing, I can notice the flicker on them if I move my eyes back and forth, and you can kind of see the strobing when you do that. But anyway, what I've got added onto here is basically a very rudimentary buck converter. So the MOSFET, I have a MOSFET here. I think it's an IRF 1404, which I just salvaged out of something. But anyway, MOSFET, there's a diode in here, the toroid and the capacitor there, that's all just it makes a basic buck converter. And then there's actually input capacitance and output capacitance here. And that's about it. This little toroid actually gets a little bit warm under this kind of load, which I guess I kind of expect. I should put some thicker wire on that actually, because this is like 18 gauge wire. I think I'm pushing like 7 amps through it or something like that. So anyway, that's the basic circuit there. I'm not going to go over really how that works, but it does seem to do a pretty good job. I'm going to go ahead and dim it and see if you can hear the noise that it makes. Set it at 50% and I'll stick the microphone right up by it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and stick the microphone up by the little circuit that I built first and give you a listen to that. I think that does make a little bit of the noise, but most of it comes from the power supply, which is in with a mess of cables down underneath this thing. So should probably be able to hear that, but anyway, that's it's about a 2 kilohertz whining noise, I think. But anyhow, that's the circuitry for this thing. Anyway, that should hopefully improve the quality of these videos that I produce here. A little bit less grain on it, a little bit more light. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed that little video, and I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.